So, you want to be a better trader, better investor, make more profits, or just get a better understanding of the financial markets? This is the podcast for you. You are listening to Traders of Money, brought to you by TradeDelicious. Now your host, Jordan Mellor.
Yiannis, thanks so much for joining me today. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on an episode of Traders of Money. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. I've been watching your episodes religiously, I would say. And here we are. I'm on it.
I appreciate it. I'm loving the fact that you're so wrapped up in the cold here and I'm sitting in shorts and t-shirt. It's just something about it that makes me feel so much warmer.
I know. You're gonna push that in the whole interview, I'm sure. But I am coming to Bali, so I'm gonna be quite close to you very soon.
You will.
I'll be flashing the 30 degrees coming up.
yeah, I've had that today, fortunately enough. But yeah, I definitely think you'll overtake me when you get up there. I'm a bit jealous. I won't lie, I'm a bit jealous. But look, let's get into you. There's a lot I don't know about you. There's a lot, obviously, anyone watching this doesn't know about you. As it stands right now, you're a full-time trader, just started your own YouTube channel as well. You're a funded trader over at the 5 Percenters. Where does your journey begin? How did you end up in this industry where you are today and chatting to me?
Well, have you got time? we're gonna go back in some time. Definitely 10 years ago, we're gonna go back to, and that was I worked in elite sport as a performance analyst, and it started all from my education. I started with a civil engineer education. And then transitioned into doing sports science, just because I didn't want to analyze concrete. I wanted to analyze athletes. And that was the fastest track to do that. So I did sports science. And funny enough, after I finished my bachelor's degree, I had a big decision to do in terms of my master's degree. So I was thinking, I really liked psychology and I really liked analyzing. It was something quite new, performance analysis. So I had a dilemma which way to go. It would be 50-50. I might be a psychologist now as we talk. But I did go down the performance analyst route, and I had an amazing career through it. Worked with canoe slalom.
Sorry, if you don't mind me asking, what drove you to want to work with athletes and go into that performance analytical path?
I used to be an athlete myself. I played high-level tennis and basketball up to the age of 20 years old. But had big injuries on my knee, and also not making a cut on one of the crucial moments where you make from the under 18s to getting into the senior squad. I was like the 12th position out of the 11th. And then I had a decision to go on, am I going to do this? Can I give it another go or go down the educational route and get a degree and join the sport from that side, which I'm quite glad, to be honest, because it gave me the opportunity to go to 3 Olympics, London, Rio, and Tokyo, and so much life experience that I wouldn't have got if I was actually playing in the sport. And where do we leave it? We left it at. So basically, I did my master's degree in performance analysis, and from there I found an internship with the Olympic organization in the UK. It's called the English Institute of Sport, which at the time were taking over to provide a service for the Olympics in London. And 10 years passed, and I did that for 10 years. And then eventually I was like, I need to do something different. And I went into the industry of personal training and high-end personal training and strength conditioning. Worked for a few health centers in London and some high-end hotels. And from there, it's quite a funny story how I got into trading, because I never wanted to do trading. It's all down to taxes, funny enough. I was supposed. I know a lot of people are going to be like, taxes. What were you
Yeah.
talking about?
Decisions made based on taxes don't tend to usually be good ones.
No. Well, the story goes that I was supposed to get a monthly salary, and that monthly salary was cut in half, and I was given they told me that it's due to your tax bracket, and they start throwing some flashy words around accounting that I didn't have a clue what they were talking about, and I did the normal thing and said, okay, you must be right, and went back home, slept, and overnight I woke up and I was like, oh, I just feel done over. I really want to know, and I can't go back to HR and say, look, I feel like a bit dumb, but what did you explain to me? Can you explain that again? I want to know where my half my salary went. And instead of doing that, I went the other direction and did a Udemy course on accounting. I did that in about 2 weeks. I learned everything about balancing accounts, and I could see where the problem was. So I went back to HR and I said, you've taxed me on a higher salary where you should be taxing me on a lower salary up to a certain point. I ended up winning and getting that was my first ever trade. That was a great trade.
Their first trade was with your ex company.
I paid like $5.99 for the course and got my half salary. So that was a great trade.
Yeah, fantastic. It's a good investment.
And from there, when you're on Udemy, actually, it gives you suggestions after you've done a course. And coming from that high of having that success, I was like, what else can I learn? And underneath there was an investing, how to invest in stocks. And I did a course on that. It was it gave you, when you complete one, you get huge discounts. So I got it for like $1.99 or something. And I did the course, and a part of in there talked about day trading. And I'm quite a competitive person coming from sports and all that background. And I was like, oh, I really want to give this a go. And I love learning. One of my biggest things is I love learning. If you bring something new, I'm very easily distracted and want to try it. So I did that, and I'll try and keep it short. But after a lot of courses, online courses, I ended up on someone who was talking about the indices, and I really enjoyed trading the indices at the time, specifically the DAX. And there was a guy called the Scruffy Trader. I think you've interviewed him before.
We have. We had him on a few weeks ago. Yeah.
And I really related to him. He was, he spoke plainly. He wasn't giving me all the big, difficult words and difficult systems that you need to follow. And he said, you can do this a simple way. And I just followed him and had a one-to-one with him. And he kind of broke down how he trades. And I did that because up to that point, I was quite successful. I was having 8%, 90% win rates, which is crazy. But one trade, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. One trade would take the whole account out. So basically, I didn't know anything about risk management on how to manage a trade, and that's where Scruffy Trader helped me do that.
Fantastic.
And then after that, I found out another course, which was online free, the ICT course. And I don't know if you're aware, familiar with it, but that really related to it's on lower time frames, like 15, 10 minute, 1 minute. And that helped me a lot because it gives me a way to trade during the session. And we've just had a newborn. So it gives me that flexibility to sort of treat it like a job, trade the open, and whatever happens, close the trades, lunchtime, and do that 5 times a week.
Fantastic. Well, first of all, congratulations on your newborn. It's great stuff, and good luck as well moving out to Bali. That's going to be great for you and your family because you're closer to Australia. So what could go wrong?
I know. Right?
So yeah, okay. So that's interesting. So you kind of much like almost every single person who ever got into trading, unless you went the proprietary trading route, you learned to trade through depicting online courses courses, kind of taking the good, taking the bad, and trying to figure that out yourself, and then slowly just building on the foundations in what you've grouped. As you said, you were trading really well, but you had no concept of risk management, so you went to another course, understood a bit more on that, and you just kind of been bouncing back and forth, and then you found ICT, which gave you your strategy and how you trade that allows you to do it the way you do. What assets are you trading? Where are you predominantly based?
Predominantly is Forex, especially the USD pairs, pound dollar, euro dollar. Those are I look at them. I have a basket of maybe two indices and two pairs. Now, if there's a huge move like recently on the USD JPY, I will look at it, but I will almost look at it from an educational perspective, just because I'm not in touch with what the price is doing and what it has been doing in the last 6 months. And I think one thing I took from multiple people that have helped me with trading is find something that you understand and really build that strength around that understanding rather than jumping from asset to asset. And that was a transition for me from predominantly trading the indices, DAX, FTSE, and transition. I had never traded Forex before Scruffy. And especially that's when the fivers came in and the funded account. After I had a big hit on my personal fund, I was like, I need to prove myself that I can do this before I can fund my personal account again. And that's where the bootcamp came in. The one that I'm currently funded.
That's
now.
so interesting. That's so interesting, because usually people go to the funds once they've reached an element of consistency, they've reached an element of profitability, and they're looking to expand, their buying power. But you saw the going into the fund as a way to reduce your exposure in your own accounts to prove that you can do it yourself.
Absolutely. And if you think about it, for someone who's going through my problem, which was not being able to kill that trade, fivers, I think things have changed now, but I think still in the bootcamp, you have to have your stop. You have to have a certain 2% risk. You have 5 times you can do that, and then your account is closed. So this creates for me, created a new way of looking at my trade, focusing on my stops, where they're going to be. Is it too much risk? What is the strategy? How am I getting out of this trade? And it really helped me. Just the process of going through the bootcamp. Obviously, I loved getting funded at the end of it and passed the second milestone, which is great. But for me, it was more of, okay, I've passed, what was it? Like I provided 29% in 4 challenges. So now I think I am ready to go into my funds and refund what I had lost. And it has been quite consistent from then on.
I mean, I'm going to dive more into this because I'm really intrigued. What do you feel a big psychological difference in your trading and your decision making between being on a fund account and being on your retail account?
Good question. During the challenges, yes, massively,
To the side of it's harder or it's easier?
Because I was playing against my weaknesses, which was managing the trade when I started the challenges. I found it harder because I had to make sure that stop is in, and you have, I think, like 2 to 5 minutes to make sure that stop is in. I think it's 2. So there was occasions where I would be out and I was managing a trade on my phone. Don't do that, by the way, unless you have done your analysis before and you're just managing the trade. Don't enter new trades. So I was managing the trade, but sometimes it gets clunky when you pull your stop and it looked like it was in there and then it wasn't. And then that would be a violation. And I would be like, oh, this is, it's so annoying because this stop is not really, I tried to put the stop in and then it didn't go in. And this is some things like this where you would really make it harder because I had to focus so much on making sure that every rule was being met during the challenge. On your personal account, you have the other challenge, which is you have the freedom to put a stop or not put a stop completely, and that is a different challenge. But if I'm on the screen with my funded account, I'm happy to manage it. I've got a good idea now how the day, even when you have black swan days, you know that the market is going to go, I don't know, 500 pips or whatever. Then you can have the worst case scenario in mind whilst you're live trading, and especially when you know the economic calendar coming up. If you've got CPI and NFP, you can prepare for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always good to understand what is capable in your assets, and that takes me back to a little while ago, obviously 2015, when the Swiss franc gapped like 4,000 pips, and I've chat to people so many times about this. There's a lot of people that have no idea that the Swiss franc's even done that. So it is very important to understand what is capable in the assets, understand the assets you are trading in that. Hindsight, now that you've gone on, you're funded, you're making steps to get funded even further. Looking back at that struggle and that pain in having to manage your risk a little bit more than what you can on a retail account, did you see it still as a shackles, or do you see it as a genuine learning curve in your trading career and it's helped you?
I think so the question is, did I still find it hard, or the whole journey?
So looking back, because obviously you found it hard adapting to risk management parameters which different funds have. I want you, like, now that you've moved on and you look back at that, do you still see them as shackles that hurt your trading, or do you still see them
absolutely
as?
not. I think for instance, if I was going now into the fivers, and I have to thank Scruffy and Volker actually in his Discord, who brought it to Scruffy, and he tested it for us, and I really like the fivers just because it gives you the flexibility around the time, especially. It takes away that time pressure to pass your challenges, and you're looking for 5% for the whole year. It's not, if you're not getting that, you are not ready to trade, and that's what I liked about it. It was almost like a barrier for entry for me to do the funds. Now, going back to your question about what I've noticed now in my trading, I've actually changed, and I really focus on my stops, even on my funded account. And I find it really uncomfortable when I don't have a stop in, even if I'm live trading, because that is come from the boot camp. And when you have 5 chances and then the account is gone, you're just going to pay attention to it. And that's, I would say, it's all positive from passing the boot camp. And it's corrected a lot of things just because I had to decrease my lot size. And as you know, when you get an 100K account, your 100K account is actually your sort of buying power. You can open anything you want. You can open your indices, but if you start trading like 100K account, that account is going to blow up very quickly, just because your drawdown is a lot smaller, and that creates good habits. You decrease your lot size. You're looking for slow gains. You're not looking for that one swing of profits that will pass the challenge. And I think I passed the challenge after 150 trades or 200 trades. I can't remember exactly. And I think that creates good habits.
Yeah, no, I agree. My first evaluation account with the fivers took me 5 months to pass. And it wasn't like I had trouble and it was really hard to do. It was just I can find the strategy that I trade to fit the parameters of what I was actually trying to achieve. It took me 5 months to achieve the I think it was the 6 or the 8%. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but it took me 5 months to achieve that before we got funded. So I definitely agree with you in that sense. I just wanted, seeing as you had a different view, I got to a point of profitability, then looked to extend my buying power, whereas you use the extended buying power to reduce personal risk. And it's interesting. It stood out to me. So I wanted to get an idea on how you felt the programs in hindsight after doing that. Diving into your process not necessarily how you analyze the assets and trade them. I want to go more into, you say you've managed to set up your trading into hours, into days now. Obviously, having a newborn baby, you're going to need to be around a fair bit and at the ready. How do you go about managing that? So do you have set hours you sit at the desk? Are you only analyzing certain things at certain times? What's your process there?
The problem with forex is it's running 24/7. That is a huge problem, and a lot of people, you can find opportunities in the Asian market, you can find in New York or London. It's basically all day, and when you're learning, that's great because you can really pan out your sort of world of testing out assets, what's working for you and what is not. What helped me, obviously, the arrival of the baby gave me that motivation to fine tune my entries and exits. Because in the past, even when they're past the challenges, there would be trades where I would be sitting them in all day. I wouldn't trade the open just because it was too volatile for that time strategy. I would wait for the outcome of the manipulation of the open, pretty much, and then position myself for the afternoon and New York Open. So that sometimes I would close a day. I would start the trade on 11 a.m. CET time, close it by 8 o'clock, and sometimes just leave it open for the next day, just because I was managing it throughout. So that became a bit, it's constant in your mind. If you're sleeping and you've got trades open and you're thinking, stop's taken out, or how is it going to, if you wake up at 5 a.m. suddenly you're going to be looking at your phone. And I didn't want to be doing that. And that's where the ICT came in, because he says you've got 2 to 3 opportunities a day to find a good setup. And the best times for his strategy is to look at the London kill zone, and which is like 7 till so pre-market till 9, 10 a.m. If there's nothing there, you've got a second opportunity in the afternoon for the open of the New York, local New York time, 9 to sort of pre-market to 10 o'clock. So you've got 2 opportunities, and that framed my day really well. So I my normal day looks like I wake up 7 o'clock, grab my favorite drink, which is Italian cappuccino. There will be a barley cappuccino soon in February.
Probably still Italian coffee though.
Still Italian coffee, or African probably coffee. But and then I'll grab the coffee, and what I'll do is plan the day on how I'm gonna what setup I'm looking for. And looking for fair value gaps, looking for liquidity around swing highs and lows. And when I have a setup that I really like, that trade will probably confirm if it's a good trade within the next hour. If it's not a good trade, I would take my loss. And if I'm not busy with baby and other things in the real life, then I will go and look at the New York session, and that breaks it up nicely. Breaks the day nicely.
Yeah. So you the way you trade, you can tell if it's going to be a good or bad trade very quickly, judging off volume, liquidity, etc. in the market, bouncing from the levels that you're attempting to trade from.
Yeah, so I basically looking at break-up structures, and if that break structure then confirms and it fills a value gap, that would be my entry. And because that normally comes from very close to a swing high, if that swing high is taken out with a reversal of a break-up structure, so if I was going short, the reversal of a long break-up structure, then that will be me out, and I will take my medicine and just have another coffee and come back to it.
Yeah, it gets like that some days. It does. This is intriguing for me. Have you thought about the sessions or times you're going to be trading being based in Bali in a couple months?
I was expecting this question. I can imagine I need to test the Asian market. Obviously, the volumes are different, and different assets. Obviously, you have to look at the Aussie, and you have to look at JPY and sort of the things that move in that time. I'm going to have your phone on speed dial and see what the similarities are in London and New York. But it's actually not too bad time for London. It's like lunchtime, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's
over in Bali time it is anyway, which lines up with Western Australia, which I think London Open is around 2 p.m. It's around 3
it will be like I would probably have bit more pressure on finding that setup in the London session and not letting it drag into the afternoon session. The good thing is you have the whole morning to enjoy, like we said, coffee, nice croissants, and surfing and whatever we're going to be doing in Bali.
Absolutely, it sounds like an absolute dream. I might just have a cheeky plane ticket waiting. Might come up and join you
anytime.
But
anytime.
Yeah, no. Look, it's fun to get used to new markets. It's fun to expand the boundaries. You mentioned early on that if something piques your interest, you love to learn. You love to get ideas about it. Are there other markets, assets, ways of trading? Obviously, you're predominantly based in CFDs. Is anything like futures or equities trading, bonds trading? Is any of that piqued your interest? Like, do you see yourself progressing into other industries, or do you want to hone into CFDs and FX and just stick at what you're good at?
I did miss the part that when I did do the course, it also talked about stock trading, and I did a quick search online, and Interactive Brokers was the sort of the industry kind of sort of best to be able to trade big cap and small cap. So I was like, I did a bit of a course on stocks and how to identify stocks. I did that for a little bit, and I would say I probably didn't try it long enough. But when I started doing stocks, I did a course that was predominantly on forex and indices, and the fact that you can get into forex with micro lots is it's very cheap entry. You can be trading up to whatever, like 50p, 10p, or per pip. So if you didn't have a huge capital, and at the time it was quite a when you start learning in the US, you need like 20,000 just to open an account to be able to go short. I did like trading both ways. It was I didn't like the limitation of the stocks, and in the UK, obviously, cryptocurrency was banned, so you can't trade crypto. You can, but not easily. So you would have to have a broker from somewhere else. And these kind of things kind of helped me. I'm a bit glad that I didn't get into crypto. Some people would they're going to slant the comments and saying we love crypto.
Yeah, great.
But I think that I do like the oldest market has been the forex market, and it's the biggest market. There's so much money, and if you're it's 24/7. Anywhere you go in the world, and we were moving. Someone will argue similarities with crypto, which you can trade at 24/7. But it just, I think it was, with these things, it's luck as well. If you jump into stocks and it goes well, then you stick with it. For me, DAX was my first success, trading the DAX. I had some really good months until I got the slap in the face of you're just trading for 6 months, dude. You're not gonna be getting 80-90% win rate.
Yeah, that comes around. Was that the DAX 30 or the DAX 40 at that time?
That was the 30 at the time. Yeah,
that was the 30. Yeah. Okay. Do you still trade the DAX today?
Yes, I had a trade yesterday, and I've only started because the boot camp brought it in. With the fivers, and because I've used to the movement, the volatility of the DAX. I really enjoyed the you can get some good profits. The only thing is that obviously you can get some big losses if you're not careful. However, with the ICT concept, my stop is a lot smaller. And
Yeah.
I really try to that sniper approach of I'm not getting into a trade, building back into it that I used to do with Scrappy as a way of trading. I'm looking for that position to be successful, and if not, I'll just kill the trade. But one of the things that was in talking about assets, the biggest change in my trading was psychology, and that's where the conscious day trader came in. It was more about, what things am I, because my strategy was working, and I had proof that my strategy was working. Now 80% over 200 trades, and the reason I would lose the sort of big profits that I would make at that time was because I couldn't kill that trade. And that trade, I knew it was wrong, but I just couldn't press the button, because I was hopeful that, I've been building this with so much success, it's going to come back, and it's going to go my way. And that's when I started thinking, this is something bigger than strategy. It's something that comes from my childhood, comes from the psychology and potentially traumas that I've had from throughout my life, of fear of missing out. You don't think about these things, but your life experiences play in your trades every single day.
Absolutely.
And that was a big learning curve for me. And sort of, I'm really big into like NLP and how you can use different ways to change your state of your body and your mind whilst you're trading. And that has improved my trading massively.
I'm glad you segued this way, because I was going to bring it up. You've started your YouTube account. For people just to get a reference what your YouTube is about, how would you sum it up very quickly?
So the YouTube came from a place where I really enjoyed doing videos and enjoy editing. It came back from elite sport. I used to do motivational videos for the athletes before the Olympics, and they loved them. And I downloaded DaVinci and was being all flashy with my videos, and that created a bit of a passion. Then I had another challenge, like was another channel. It was like a traveling vlog of our life, of just my name. And I think that's going to continue in Bali, just following the life in Bali. And trading was something new that I wanted to make it fun as well. I wanted to bring reality. You see a lot of people, obviously, I don't know if they're trading paper trading or there's some ridiculous lot sizes.
I know exactly where you're going.
Saying that they're making like 50, 60,000 in the next hour. But I just wanted to bring what is a realistic way of, what does a journey look like for someone who's trying to break into trading. So I capture my trades every day and I post them on my channel. And hopefully you're going to be a guest on my podcast in the future, hopefully, where it's going to be about mindset and psychology, because I think it's an area where a lot of people don't like go into because it can be a bit boring. But every single trader that has made it, if you speak to them more than 10 minutes, they will bring the psychological aspect into their trading.
I definitely... I hate the fact that people shy away from trading, from talking psychological aspects, and not just in trading. It's a common human trait. A lot of people aren't willing to assess their emotions, how they're feeling, and why they're feeling a certain way. And I think it's just a horrible thing to hide emotions, or at least act like they're not, influencing decisions that you make in day-to-day activities. And I think prior to trading, I was one of those. I'm more than willing to admit that I would just be like, no, don't be silly, carry on. And in learning to trade, and you have to go through that that wall of accepting, hey, I'm not right here. As you mentioned, it might be all the way back to childhood trauma. It might be back to some other element that's eating you up that has nothing to do with trading, but it's the reason that you can't pull the trigger when you need to pull the trigger. And it's something I discussed in a previous episode as well with Mandy Rafsanjani, who's a psychological coach. Fantastic insight there as well. And I really dislike that people aren't more open, and especially I see it a lot more in men. I see it a lot more in guys that got the aspect of, I'm a bloke, you know. We don't discuss how we feel and emotions, and it's the biggest drowner in trading. If you're not willing to just open up everything and really, you don't have to do it publicly. You know, some of us do because some reason we're strange and we get on camera and we do it publicly, but it assessing these emotions is definitely what's driven me further forward in my trading career. The ability to know when I'm right and when I'm not right, not technically looking at it, just purely whether I feel right, like I'm going to make these right decisions. That took me a very long time to understand and to get to. How on earth did you do it?
It's mine was fast tracked. Like everything in life, for something to be fast tracked, it has to be big and it has to be meaningful. And in 2020, I believe, or 21, I might get it wrong. She will kill me for this, but my partner was diagnosed with chronic fatigue. So we would go to doctors and they would say, this is pretty much it. You'll have to carry your partner from the couch to the bed every day. And it was something shocking. It was, she was a ballet dancer. She was like super active, and suddenly to see her in bed not being able to move was something shocking. And all the doctors was telling us that, this can't be, it's not a way, you can't get out of it. It's just, they don't know why the body gets into this state. And they don't know how you can heal out of it. And Jen was like incredible. She got really deep into the trauma side of why things might be happening, really deep into NLP and how the nervous system reacts to different situations, and why is your body actually put you into this state where you physically can't move out of bed. And at the time I was very naive. I was like, this can't be psychological. It's something in the body, something I didn't know. And it turns out that there's no psychological and physical. It's all one. What we've a lot of the times I find it when I have a stressful, let's say this interview, if I was stressed, and after an hour, I know it's not. It's really, I've enjoyed it really, really much. But let's say it was stressful, and after an hour after this, I got a backache. I would have never thought that stress can lead to my backache. I would be thinking that backache is coming from, I don't know, I lifted something.
Sat funny on your chair, or yeah,
something like that. But what the nervous system does, it constricts and expands depending on your environmental stresses. And when this can be impacted by anything, it can be impacted by someone giving you a hard lesson, or someone is talking to you in a way that your body deems to be stressful. I'm trying to simplify this for the viewers, but if you are interested in terms of this area, you have to go really deep in terms. I'll give you an example. You not killing the trade might be coming from a situation that happened when you were 7 or 10 years old. And that has carried on into your life. And you don't know it because you have never had to reflect back to when you were 7 and 10 years old. It might be coming from being neglected from some reason, for parents or whatever. And you're all trying to impress parents. This is another area where you might have the itchy finger and saying, I'm going to get in because I need to prove myself. These might be things that you don't think of, but they might have strong roots from your childhood. And that was an area where I got interested just from life experience, because Jen managed to heal herself. And now she helps other people heal herself within a year with all these tools that they've created. And I thought this has so much application into trading, and I see it into my trading. So every day I sit down and I open the charts. I make a conscious effort to, what is my current state? Is my heart rate pumping because I've got the London kill zone? I've got 3 hours to find this trade. Or am I calm, collected? I know what I'm looking for. It's not there. Fine. I'll go to New York. Am I feeling adrenaline rush? Am I feeling that? You will know it in trading. We always get it when you're in and you see it go blue, and you're like, oh, it's building up the position. But you know you're going to have to leave it to hit your 10 pips or 20 pips. But you're getting itchy and you're getting itchy. That is you understanding that and being objective about it, and saying, actually, this is my physiology doing this. Is not my conscious sort of mind. I don't want to be itchy when I need to be calm. It just can't help it. It's your innate state of mind and body. Understanding that, then you can start building habits and create tools that you can trick the mind to get out of these states, so you can have a composed and calm approach to your trading. And that's where I think one of the biggest sort of areas of focus has been for me, and I've seen a huge improvement from there.
I think that's the difference between you and I. That last little statement there, when you mentioned you trick your mind into being more calm so you can trade the market. And maybe there's an area I can learn from you in there, because while I notice when I'm not right, as I mentioned before, I notice when I'm not thinking straight. That'll be predominantly my trading day done and dusted from the moment I walk in. I'll walk in and go, nah, I'm just not right today. I'm not feeling right. I'm a little bit antsy, anxieties, whatever it might be. I'll walk in and just go, nah, there's no point. I'll watch it. I'll stick around, but there's no way I'm executing today. Where you rather trick your mind into being more relaxed and then find the opportunities. How do you go about that?
It's interesting you say that, because if you think about what your body and your mind is doing in that scenario, you've identified a threat and your body said, no, I'm going to remove you from that threat to find safety. And that works. But what happens when you're already in the trade and you have to be there? And that then comes in, and you're like, I can't remove myself. Now I'm panicking. Now I'm getting that itchy finger. I need to kill this, or I need to. I can't kill it. And this is where I say trick, but it's not trick. It's almost like when you in NLP, you change the way your mind thinks about a situation. So you look at a situation that is stressful, and you try to make it less stressful. And that takes time. It's like a skill. You have to practice it. And you have to go, it might be in paper trading and seeing your setups or where that happens. And if it's not on paper trading, you need to do it in real life. Just by thinking about it, you're improving it. So it doesn't have to be today. My aim tomorrow when I go on the desk is going to be, I'm going to be less stressed. It's impossible. Yeah. It's impossible, because you've built these reactions to these environments from when you were a child. Do you think 24 hours is going to change that? So you have to slowly create those good habits. And it might be, for instance, when you're feeling that stress, check in and say, okay, I'm feeling stressed. I'm not in a state of mind to trade. Why? What similarities can I depict from this that I've seen in other areas of my life? I get like this when I speak in front of a big crowd. Okay, why is that? Maybe they're going to judge how I look. Maybe they're going to judge what I'm going to say. Maybe I'm having imposter syndrome. I don't belong here. These are things that are all made up in our minds. They're beliefs about ourselves. And we need to change. You need to slowly start changing those beliefs. And the only way to trick that mind, that's why I use the word trick, is you have to change the belief that you receive to the brain. So if I need to believe that I'm confident, I need to believe that I'm calm. And the more I do that, the more the habit gets created. And that neural signal that goes back and forward to your brain and your body starts believing it too. And that's where manifestation comes in. Not that you're going to, you can't, I've heard a lot of people, I can't manifest 2 million tomorrow. No, but you have to think it first before you do it. You can't, how can you get somewhere if you don't see it? You have to see it,
Absolutely.
and then you work towards it.
Fantastic. Oh, I appreciate you. I've just had a cheeky little therapy session there. Look at that. I hope everyone at home as well can maybe people that relate to me in that situation, or you haven't got to the point of where you can be self-aware, you can extract from what Yiannis is talking about here, because it's powerful stuff. It's powerful stuff. If people are trying to extract, they're intrigued. Where are they going? Where can we hear more from you? Where can we see more from you?
The channel on YouTube is called The Conscious Day Trader, and I post things every day there. I also have an Instagram account which is called The Conscious.daytrader, and those are two areas. I'm on the Fivers, on the Facebook. If you're joining on either of the boot camps or all the funds that they have, I normally just post my things in there about blogs on psychology and all the stuff we've been talking about, or trades that we've been doing.
Fantastic. And we're going to have you in some more live trading rooms in the on TradeDelicious too.
Yeah, it's been fun.
I think you've enjoyed
it. Fun.
It has. All right. Well, Jan, I'm going to let you go. I know it's prime time London session for you, so I'm going to let you go get involved in the charts. I just want to say a big thank you for joining me today, to sharing your story, sharing your knowledge to everyone at home. And honestly, good luck in Bali. I wish you all the best.
Thank you. And we'll be closer. Hopefully we'll catch up in person. Thanks,
I think we should. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
You've been listening to Traders of Money, the podcast that helps you better understand the financial markets, become a better trader, better investor, and be more profitable. Traders of Money is brought to you by TradeDelicious. Join your host, Jordan Mellor, next time on Traders of Money.